All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another THP Strength podcast. I think this is the fourth episode. Today, we have Will Williams, an elite world-class long jumper and also one of the freakiest athletes I've personally ever seen. So, Will, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you living right now? What are you doing for work? What are your current athletic goals?
So I'm currently living in Jonesboro, Arkansas, where I'm assistant jumps coach. Where next year I'll actually be short sprints and jumps coach because the head coach felt like I did a very exceptional job with the short sprints that I had. I took a girl from 25 1 in the 200 to 23:45, and she made the West Regionals. And I took her from 12:1 to 11:43, and I took a long jumper from 7:45 to 8:06, and another one from 7:23 to 7:77. I believe 7:77 or 7:75, I believe. So I'm out here coaching at Jonesboro, Arkansas State University, alumni of Texas A&M University, their school record and facility record holder in a long jump with an indoor mark of 8:19. Just jumped the outdoor PB of 8:12 and ran a PB of 10:32. As far as my goals, I'm looking in these. I know a lot of people wouldn't think I'm supposed to have these type of expectations with what I'm doing, but I'm looking to change the game as far as the long jump. Um, and a lot of my blueprint comes from what Carl Lewis, Ivan Pedroso, and all those type of jumpers did in the back in the day. I felt like they literally gave the blueprint to jump for all on a sprinted exceptionally well. And a lot of guys think that Carl Lewis was a great sprinter that jumped, and that was never the case. He's a great jumper that sprinted well, and it translated, it just went well together. And so in these next coming years, that's what I'm trying to drift more into, getting down to that more speed-based training, get down to the 10:09 range, and then I'm trying to go for the world record soon.
That's so crazy. I'm not surprised. I've long said this, that you are one of the freakiest athletes ever. And my rationale for this is that you surf the curve incredibly well, meaning, for the people listening, Will can apply force slow, he can apply force fast, he can apply force insanely fast, and he does it extremely well at all of those points across the force
wall. I also want to put this in here. Will also has one of my favorite Dunkademic sessions. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people, I feel like it's a very underrated session, but I just like it because you just jump high as shit. So
when he came, because I was in Chula Vista, California at the time, and I was just out there doing some computer technical work with Jeremy Fisher, and I forgot his name.
Bill.
Bill. So he contacted me and said he wanted to come down and go to the YMCA, or maybe in LA Fitness to just shoot a session. And I'm like, all right. So I didn't know. I'd be looking at y'all sessions. I'm like, they be doing all these fancy stuff. So I'm like, what you want me to do? So I was just doing stuff in a moment, just doing random dunks. It turned out pretty good.
Dude, Will, your balance is like so much fun to watch because your ground contact time is like stupidly fast for a 2-foot jumper, and then your body rotates kind of like CJ's. But what makes your style so special is that you don't do a lot in the air. You just float.
Yeah.
Take off and you're like, I'm in the air now, which makes it a lot of fun to watch, honestly. I think one of your probably viral dunks was like you were just at like a 24-hour fitness or something like that, and I guess you just buddy your phone and you were like, watch this, and then like got your whole head above the rim and just like cocked back a two-hander and like finished.
Yeah.
When you finished, you were like this, like your hands were like level with your face, and then you did a one-hander, I think, as well, and that was like probably the most. Was that the most viral video that you've posted?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
What is kind of your lens on like dunking compared to track? Which one more, and which one do you think is, I guess, more impressive?
Which one is more?
Let's start with which one do you like more? I'll start with that.
What do I like more? I would say dunking. Like, and because my dunking base is what created what I'm doing now. Like that created a lot of what I'm doing in the jumps world. Like as far as like my sprint, my contacts, everything comes from my dunking base, and that's what tried to tell or struggled with telling coaches that I've dealt with in the past, like I can't drift so far away from my base. I can't drift from what created me. So yeah, I would say, but like as far as what's most impressive, I would think the dunking is more impressive. But in these next couple of years, I think probably the long jump's gonna exceed that.
So more so like for yourself, you think your dunks are more impressive than long jump. But in general, when you see a guy jump like 860, or you see Isaiah do whatever 360 behind the back between the legs, or you see him do kamikaze or whatever, which one is like holy shit, that's more like, which one are you like holy shit, that's insane? More so
Isaiah, because I'll be looking at Isaiah shit, and it's like I'm like I kind of jump just as high as him or around the same as him, but I can't do none of that shit. Yeah, I'm sorry. You mind if I cuss?
That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so I'm like I can't do that. Like he's very versatile in the air and he has a lot of body control. And it's like I can't do that. And then as far as like with the guys that's jumping 860 and 850, 860 and stuff, it's like I look at those. I'm like I can do that. Like I'm not doing a number. I'm like I can do that. Like I stay healthy. I'm gonna be jumping that on a regular basis. But as far as what he's doing, it's not too many guys in the world that can do the things he's doing. Like you don't see it too often.
That's so interesting because Isaiah, what's your answer to that question now, Isaiah?
Yeah, I was gonna say what's funny is I would think of it in the reverse way. So like when I see dunkers doing like basically any trick dunk, I have a similar view. It's like, oh, like I could probably do that. Like, I could pull that off. But then it's very different when I see someone jumping high, whether it's track or even in basketball. Like if I see someone like dunking like here on the rim or something like that, I'm like, whoa, that was sick. Versus the trick dunk, I'm not as like impressed by it, but I'm a fan of just like raw like athleticism, which is why I was saying I'm such a big fan of the dunk session you had, because like even though you weren't pulling off like any mind-blowing tricks, it's just the jump height. Like I just think that it never gets old to see someone jumping that high.
Yeah. Did y'all do dunk camp already?
No, but that's actually coming up like in the next week. So that's why I was like, I actually talked to Andy today, and I was like, I gotta talk to Will and see would you still be down if the opportunity arose in the next week? It's next week, so it's Monday to Thursday. If any of those days.
So that would kind of be, I mean, because I'm flying out on Wednesday. I'm flying out Wednesday morning because I compete Friday at USA's.
Okay.
So, and then I'll leave there on Monday. So it'll be.
Wait, where are your flights back to Arkansas? You've already booked it?
Yeah, I actually just booked it last night.
Well, if there's any way, okay, so Jordan Wester may come out for the first 2 days. He might be there Monday to Tuesday. I think that there will be like, I'm not sure if there's space, so don't quote me on this, don't hold me to this. There may be another bed at one of the hotels because someone had to phase out, so there may be space. And I talked to Andy today, and Andy was like, oh, like, another guy can't come because he broke his hand. I don't know if I'm allowed to share this, but who it is. But this person kind of backed out last second. And so Jordan said he would come. And then I was like, let me see if Will would be interested still. So if you're free on Tuesday, Monday and Thursday, would you be willing? If Andy said it was okay, how willing would you be to go?
If I can make that trip, yes, in Utah?
Yeah, it's Utah.
If I can make that trip, I could probably have to give me like a day or two to check the arrangements and everything. But if I can make that trip, yeah, I would possibly come. Because I wanted to do it because I want to do in these next few years. I really want to be able to market myself as one of the most versatile athletes in the world. So I wanted to start with the dunk camp, and then I wanted to, drift into sprints, and then I actually wanted to go to the football combine next year too.
Annihilate the combine. Only thing I feel like you have to do. So for those of you listening to this, what you don't know about Will, and Will can probably shed more light on this, is that he was like a multi-sport athlete in high school. And you grew up in Chicago, right? You're from Chicago.
Yeah, just outside Chicago, yeah.
Yeah, so like grew up super freaky and can do football, can do basketball, can do track, can do, I don't even know what other random of things, but you don't, but the other thing about Will is he doesn't, I would confidently say you do not market yourself nearly as well as you could. Like, I look at myself and I'm like, I've got a 40-inch vertical on my best. I have 27,000 followers. Will's like, I post a long time video sometimes, and it's horizontally filmed portrait mode, which is never good for views on Instagram. Like, stay in your lane and just coach. And I'm like, dude, if you literally had, like, you can ask Isaiah when it comes to filming content for Instagram and TikTok, I usually do a really good job just because I don't know, I just done it so much filming dunks. I've had to make myself look better than I am. And so I'm like, dude, someone like Will that's actually talented, if I like, I could regularly film, I could easily put you on the map in like a day, which you usually do yourself when someone else just randomly grabs your phone and you're like, oh, I'm gonna do a dunk session. Like,
I don't know why John is literally the best filmer I've ever had out of like anybody, like people whose job.
So you film with a phone like this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought everything was better this way.
Okay, so if we're on YouTube, definitely. But for Instagram and TikTok, the algorithm prefers everything being vertically filmed and using slow-mo. So always use the slow-mo function on your phone. And then you can edit it and you can put the slow-mo at certain points. So that's also kind of important. And then you always want to film like perpendicular. So like you would, if you're running like this, you don't want to film head on. You always want to film like from the side so you can see all of the kind of like crazy positions, you know what I mean? So like your video of you going, the one that was super viral, it had all of those elements. It was vertically filmed, right? It was in slow motion and you filmed it from the side. So that's why.
You know what's funny? My guy that was filming it, I'm telling him to film it. He's like, I can't get the proper angle or something. So he kept it like this. And I was telling him he didn't know how to film.
That's hilarious. Well, hey, dude, sometimes the greatest inventions happen by accident.
Yeah. We were actually talking about that, like filming people on the side. I think because it's really common, like in dunk videos, like people film from the back and it's like a really low angle and it makes it look like the guy's jumping higher than they are. But if it's an athlete that's actually freaky, like doing a legit angle from the side and showing how high they're actually jumping is so much better because like it shows like the freakiness of it, like, and
like people can sniff out, when it's disingenuine, you know what I mean? Because social media's been, and dunking specifically has been popular on social media for so long that people will see it and they'll be like, it was played backwards, or it's a low rim, or it's the angle. Like, you'll see that all the time, you know what I mean? And even if you are like an absolute freak of nature, if you don't capture it in the right way, it's like people, you're not going to get as much recognition as you should. My dog is ripping a ball around. Okay, so to training. So you've done, what was your background growing up? So you've done all the sports, like I said, sort of, right? I guess tell us what your progression was coming into college and then now as a coach and pro.
So I started my very first competitive sport was football in I want to say 4th grade, Pop Warner. And even then, like with football, it wasn't something that I wanted to do, but I was just great. Like as a 4th, 5th grader, I was just good at it. Like I was averaging 3 to 4 touchdowns, just handing the ball off to me, just running through everybody. And I believe that's where more so a lot of my explosiveness and power came from, football, from like 4th to 8th. Then I drifted into basketball 7th grade year just because my neighbor that I moved to, he was, I think, he was the best basketball player in the state. So he was really good. Got on a basketball team just because I could jump. Just got rebounds and get out the way. Then that summer from 8th grade to high school is when I really dedicated myself to basketball and I became more skilled. And then 9th grade, I wasn't so good, got into trouble and transferred back between Mississippi, coming back to Chicago, being in trouble. Then with football, I was on varsity my freshman year and I wasn't playing because the coach just wanted me to sit on the sideline and, learn. So then
Were you running?
I didn't really have, huh?
Did you run your mouth?
Yeah, I was that athlete, but it's like growing up with sports, I didn't have a person, or I didn't have that person in my ear that just kept me like committed and dedicated to the process and just keep going. So it was easy for me to just be like, I'm not doing this shit. I don't want to hear that. Bye. So that's kind of what I did. And then with basketball throughout high school, I stuck more with basketball because I just had the friends, and that's what all my friends and everybody was doing. So at basketball, I excelled it well in that. We got to state my junior year. We finished fourth. We lost to Simeon, which was Jabari Parker, Kendrick Nunn. They had a stacked team. Then senior year, the coach, the varsity basketball coach, he always had a thing for me. So I got kicked off the team senior year, and that's when I drifted into track. I was going to the track to pick up a friend. This was 3 weeks from graduation. I was going to track to pick up a friend. Track coach came to the car like, why you keep coming out here teasing me? Why don't you come out here and just work out? It was a Thursday. He was like, why don't you come out and work out with us and see how you like it? So we did it. We had jump. I scissor kicked, I think 6'2". Then he told me to go over like this, and I did that. Hit my back, said nope. So then we did some sprints. Then after practice, he was like, how about you come to the meet tomorrow just to watch? You don't have to do anything, just to watch and see if this is something you can see yourself doing. So I'm like, okay, I can do that. You know, I had a little friend on the team, so I'm like, okay. So I did that, get to the meet on that Friday morning. He's like, you run a long jump. I'm like, huh? I'm like, okay. So he said, just run and jump like you're dunking the ball. So that's exactly what I did. I still have that photo. So that's exactly what I did. And I think that very first jump moved me to #1 in the state. It was 23.8. So it moved to #1 to the state. It was in the newspaper and this and that. And
it was your first time ever long jumping?
Yeah, it was my very first jump, 23.8. Mom sent me to bring the Chicago Sun-Times the next morning and everything. And just she's like, look what you did. Look at this. I'm like, I didn't think it was that far because I just thought I was supposed to automatically jump out the back of the pit. So that was that. Went to sectionals. I think I got second at state. Then we had this meet. It was like what was it called? I forgot what it's called, but it was Illinois versus Wisconsin versus Iowa.
Like tri-state?
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was something like that. And I went to that meeting. I dominated in the long jump. I think we dominated in 4x1 and the 100. And then I end up going to junior college in Iowa Western, where I went from. Oh, and at that meet, I jumped 23.11, which was I think 7:38, maybe. I think it was 7:38.
That's so crazy. You literally just happened upon track, and then you were like, "Oh, here's some like each in high school months."
Yeah, it was crazy. The track coach, he's been trying to get me to come out since, because my uncle Davey, I mean my two of my uncles, their names is on the long jump ball for the school. But it's just like with me, if I didn't have a basketball or a ball in my hand, I didn't want to do it. Yeah. So that first year I signed to the junior college, went to Iowa Western, and that first year I went from 7:38 to 7:77. So that's 23.11 to 25.6 3/4 in 1 year. And then my sophomore year, I went from 7:77 to 8:03 in 2 years. So, and for me, I just started excelling expeditiously. So it's like you show me the smallest thing, it's going to just create a massive difference for me versus whereas the other athletes, because I was just so raw. So I went from 7:38 in high school to 8:03 in a matter of 2 years. So then I transferred to Texas A&M. First year didn't go so well because of the coaching, and it was like when I got to Texas A&M, I was just so well versed and knowledgeable about the sport and the event, because when I want to do something, I just become so studious to my craft. So I was studying everybody, whether it was Carl Lewis, Pedroso, Saladino, or somebody who jumped 22, 23, 24 feet off female. I was just studying everybody, and I was figuring out what works best for who, and I was figuring out like touchdown, takeoff time, strengths and weaknesses of every jumper, and then the sprints as well. And I also had a very good mentor who was one of the greatest sprint goats of all time until some stuff happened that I can't mention online. But yeah, he was one of my great mentors in North Carolina that I went to train with for a summer. Used to work with Justin Gatlin, Marion Jones, Sean Crawford, and all these big names. But so I got to A&M. First year didn't go so well. Second year, I was actually going to transfer from Texas A&M. I was going to go somewhere else. So, well, I got backtracked. So I actually signed.
Where were you going to transfer to?
So out of junior college, I signed to University of Kentucky with Coach Flo. So I signed there, and then I had to go back to junior college to finish the semester where I took more visits. So I took more visits, went to Florida State, and I'm like, dang, this is more me. So I decommitted from Kentucky, and I wanted to sign at Florida State, and I couldn't sign there because of their APR point system. And they just felt like me coming there from a junior college, they were going to be at risk. So then I said, all right, whatever. I'm just going to go to Texas A&M with these twins that I was with at JUCO. It was these twin triple jumpers. They were 1-2 in the nation, and I was number 1 in the nation. At JUCO, we kind of ran through the jumps. So we got to A&M, so I'm thinking we finna do the same thing, but it was like the coaching just wasn't there. So we was there for a year. Well, I was there for a year, that first year. Then the second month into the season of my junior year there, the coach got fired or dismissed, whatever they want to say. He got dismissed due to some stuff he did. And we was without a coach. I was pretty much working with everybody, and then I was kind of suffering a lot because I was putting all my focus on these other jumps and I wasn't doing this well, but I still we actually end up winning nationals that year. I got second, and then outdoors I got third at outdoor nationals, and I think we got second as a team. Then in 2018, we got a new coach, and I told him, like, look, I want to go for the collegiate record. And then he was like, yeah, that's nice, but I'm not interested in the collegiate record. I'm interested in getting you from 26 feet to 27 feet, and then we go from there. I'm like, yeah, that sounds good, but I want to go for the collegiate record. So I got a coach there who actually, like, he listened to me, he understood me, and he wasn't a coach that had like a huge ego. Like, he listened and understood like my goals, but he also, put his foot down when he needed to, which I didn't like, because at this point it was like I didn't deal with so many coaches. I didn't like I'm gonna get shit done like on my own terms. So that's what, like, we kind of worked well. We worked extremely well together, which got me a national title. And then, dang, I feel like I'm talking too much.
No, you're good.
So
it's far better whenever it's you talking the whole time, because if I talk the whole time, everyone's like, John, shut up. We want to hear you.
So we get a national title, and then it's like, okay, so I got the school and the facility record, but I didn't get the collegiate record. So let's go for it outdoors. So outdoors, I was setting up my season to get the collegiate record at outdoor nationals. And then we went to West Regions, and that's where I had my season-ending injury. I pulled my groin. Well, they diagnosed it as a poor groin, but I felt like it was something more than that, because I was out for like 8 months.
I remember when you did that, and I was like, "Are you good?" And you're like, "I don't know,"
Right.
because didn't you tweak it before, and then you were like, it was like a little, like maybe the end of indoor, you like tweaked it, and you're like, my hips are just like.
Yeah, it was something. Yeah, it was something small, but it's like the thing with A&M is you gonna run through whatever it is. they gonna get their money's worth. Yeah, that's the one thing I would say about these big schools, but they didn't do anything. They didn't make me do anything that I just completely didn't want to do, because it's my senior year. I wanted to make everything happen. Like, if you need me on a 4x1, I wanted to do that. 4x4 wasn't gonna do that, but if you needed me, I was gonna try to do whatever I can, no matter what I was going through. So yeah, with the groin injury, that kind of ruined a lot for me. It was a big setback for me, and it put me in a like a weird place where, only I could have got myself out of, and I was in that place for months. And I ain't really talked to nobody. I ain't tell nobody how I felt.
I feel like I feel like I talked to you a little bit during that time, and I just remember like
Yeah.
everyone was kind of like had written you off at that point, and I was like, dude,
Yeah.
this kid's still. I was like, what the hell? Like this kid's literally still one of the freakiest athletes ever.
Yeah.
Got hurt. So what? Shit happens. And then I mean there's like this guy who hates Will and I online. I don't even know who he is. He's like anonymous because he's a coward. But he like talks so much shit about both of us randomly, and I was like, for what? Like we didn't even do anything to you. And yeah, I feel like since that injury, it's just been like you trying to find your path, like more or less. You know what I mean? Like, what do you need, Will, as an athlete, to get to the goal that you have? You know what I mean? And I think, you know, like you're 8'12", it's like that is such a big win relative to the last, you know, 3 or 4 years of just like trial and error and just. I mean, COVID probably played a big role too, right? In training.
Yeah. It's like the training and dealing with the different coaches. It's like since college, I done been through. I'm on my 4th coach, and then with this coach, it's the White Phillips, and like again, like we work extremely well together, and it's like it's a lot of my input, and then him being, you know, I think 4 or 5-time world champion and Olympic gold medalist, like so, like he helps out a lot. He listens and understands. Like the difficult part is, you know, he's not physically here, so it's a lot of me coming out here being disciplined, doing things on my own.
I think for you, that's almost better though. Just like knowing you, like
you
definitely need some structure and things like that. It seems like you will get carried away and play basketball or do too many plyos, or you know what I mean. Like you need a little bit, but ultimately, like you also know what you need. And I think this year is a big testament to that, because I even remember at the beginning of the season, you were like, honestly, I just want to get faster. Like I need to get faster. That's all I need to do.
Yeah.
I were to jump, like all I need to do is carry more speed down the runway. Like that's it. And you always obviously point, he's like, look at Carl Lewis. Dude was fast as shit, jump far as hell. And I'm like, yeah, it's like a 1-to-1 split, you know what I mean?
And that's what I try to explain to a lot of these coaches now, and they don't want to sprint their jumpers. Like if you want, and I think it's also a, you know, a lot of, I would say, like the last Olympics and the marks that they jumped in the last Olympics and World Championships. Like it has a lot to do with that, because like this is what I agree with Carl Lewis on the most, and a lot of people hated him for saying this. Like 26 feet is such a lucky jump. Like a lot of people can jump 26 feet, but when the skill comes in, when the skill comes in, that's when you start to jump, you know, consistently 850, 860. So, and it's like when I jumped 8 meter, I jumped 8 meters 5 times in 1 meet this year, and 2 of those 8 meter jumps was a 1.5 feet behind the board, and I was disappointed in that, because 26 feet is such a lucky jump, and people just got so accustomed to people jumping 8 meters. They're like, oh, he jumped 8 meters, he this, nothing. And for me, it just with my expectations. Like I'm looking to jump 880, 890, hopefully 9 meters one day. So when I see 8 meters, I'm just like, and like it's not that big of a jump. Like so many people can do that. Like you see jumpers every day jumping 8 meters now, and somebody has to be the one to, you know, turn that around and set the standard. And I think a lot of the reason why a lot of athletes are so stuck with jumping 8 meters is because they're not sprinting. Like once you add that sprint variable to where you're running 10-2 or 10-1, bringing that speed down the runway, it's no way you cannot hit that board and not jump 27, 28 feet. And one of the jumpers, for example, who I think should be the best jumper in the world right now is Jerry and Lawson. Because in college, this man ran, I think 10:02. He ran a wind-aided 9.9. He ran 20.2, and he jumped 28.1 in that same year.
He was a menace.
And it's like,
he was just a menace. He was on fire in college. And he came out, like, if I remember correctly, it was like 1 year specifically where he just shit on everyone.
He won at outdoor nationals. He won the 1 to 2 and the long jump. And then with the USA's, he jumped 860, 865 or 862, 28.1. And that was his best year because he sprinted very well. And the same thing, like when I talked to him when I went to Fayetteville and jumped against him, I'm like, man, you should be really like killing this shit right now. And he just had to get back to that sprint base. So
is he like, what's the current situation? Is he? I mean, I don't know if you're liable to share this.
oh, he actually just tore his, what was it? His patella tendon, I believe, at a meet in Chula Vista. He made a post about
his patella.
Yeah.
Oh
let
man.
Let me see. He made a post about it.
That's a really.
Oh well, he deleted all of it, I guess. But yeah, he had tore his patella tendon. So
tough.
he's gonna be out for a while. Yeah.
That's a really tough.
He definitely got it, but
yeah. Hopefully, I mean, best of luck to him. Like coming back. I mean, that's a brutal injury. I'm sure he's kind of going through it right now too, just in terms of mentally. That's,
yeah. But he has the facilities, the trainers. He has everything to come back, and then he's a tough guy. So I'm pretty sure he'll be back hopefully next year.
Yeah.
I got a couple of questions. First one is just real quick because when you were talking about your athletic background, how old are you when you hit your first dunk?
I want to say 15.
15. Okay.
Yeah, 15.
And then second question, do you ever try dunking off 1 foot or like going for distance dunks and stuff like that? And
yeah, so my the white actually implements it. Like if I show y'all one of my training days, he actually tries to implement it in my training. He'll put he'll put 10 dunks by 10. You can't. Oh, so he will put, you probably can't see it, but he will put dunks by 10 from a good distance.
How come you never post those?
Huh?
How come you never film it?
So I filmed the dunk where I was trying to rock the cradle. I got it once, but it wasn't recorded.
How far can you dunk from?
From one, probably 2 steps inside the free throw line.
So do you think like work on the steps a little bit, you could go from way further out and like a flat ball that you could palm?
Can you say it again?
I said, do you think if you were like if you had a flat ball that you could palm and you took a full like corner to corner, you know what I mean, approach on the court, how far do you think you could easily dunk behind the free throw line that way?
I think I did it in the game before. Because in the game, it's like I have a lot more momentum, like getting the ball and going coast to coast. That's
right. Can you hear me, Will? You there? Might have lost him. Isaiah, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
We'll see what happens in a little bit, but
yeah, I was actually, so him saying that he jumps farther in game, it brings me back when we were talking about high jumpers. Why can't high jumpers do it as well? It reminds me of that. Like I think it's like adrenaline and like warming up.
They cut out again. So you were saying it's adrenaline?
Yeah, like I think a huge part of it is just like adrenaline and like being warmed up and stuff. Like it's probably like in just a session trying to dunk is probably a lot tougher.
Yeah, Will, can you hear us?
Yeah, it had went out for a second.
Yeah, no, okay. We were just saying, did you hear?
Nah, I didn't hear you.
We were saying, Isaiah was saying, I feel like with adrenaline and you're fully warm, like it makes sense why you can do that, because a lot of the time track guys like just walk onto a, or like, oh, just dunk a ball. Like it's not the goal, you know what I mean? And it's not, like it's viewed very differently, where if you guys just show up and there's no one around and you're like, I guess I'll dunk a little bit. Like it's not a professional approach.
The energy, it's like the energy's way different.
Yeah, and that's another thing with me. Like I jump, even at competitions, I jump my furthest or my best when the energy and the tension and everything is just high. Oh yeah.
You need to have like the competitive like your nature like kicks in a lot. I'm the opposite.
Yeah.
I'm so like docile. I need no one around. I like need to take a bunch of reps and then like I'll get my best jump like an hour into whatever I'm doing, whether it's high jump, like dunking. Like there are occasions where I feel like one thing that does fuel me is when people assume that I cannot jump That is the one scenario where I will jump high. But like at dunk camp, or like if I'm dunking with Isaiah or CJ or someone else, like they know that I can jump. So for me, it's almost better if I'm just like alone away from them and they're not like in the middle of their, because it's so dunking with Isaiah when his vertical is like 10 inches higher than mine.
Yeah, ideal scenario for me is like right after a game, everybody's watching and like stuff. That's always when I get my
layup line. In high school, everyone showed up just to see us. Well, our whole team was bouncy, but everyone showed up just to see me in the layup line. Like, it was crazy.
I want to do this at camp because I'm hopefully trying to like test an official 50 at camp. But I low key just want to, before I test, just like have everybody run like fives, like just for like a quick game, and then just test right after.
That'd be fun.
So I would love if you tested your vertical at dunk camp. I think it would be crazy. You know, Darius Clark, Dak on track.
Yeah.
So Dak would be there, and
he got so much publicity, like chilling with Drake.
Oh wait, I didn't know that. I know was Dak.
Yeah, Drake invited him to his house.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, us at THP, we're not nearly cool enough. We're just we don't have that level of clout, you know.
Wait, are you thinking you might be thinking Anthony Hamilton? Are you thinking Anthony Hamilton?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
No, I saw.
Okay, so with Dak, I'm actually trying to get him to transfer in here. Like, I'm trying to coach him next year.
Well, he doesn't have any more eligibility, does he?
Nah, he has another year. They're trying to work it out now, so I'm trying to get him to transfer in.
Well, if you and Dak are in the same location, I'm gonna move to Arkansas A&T or whatever, and I'm just gonna bring the camera and just film practice. Like, both you guys do the most ridiculous shit I've ever seen. Like, your very casual, like 12-foot touch in the A&M weight room or whatever was insane. Like, literally, you're like, yeah, it was like during lift and the vertex was up, so I just went up and touched like 11:10. Like, I was like, what the hell? And Dak's like the same way, but he's coming to camp, so he's like, has Guinness Book of World Records is going to be there for him to like test his vertical. So I'm curious to see, like, I think they're going to measure his reach according to like NFL Combine, which is going to further inflate it. Because like I make Isaiah like do this, you know what I mean? And everyone I test, I make do that. But I think like if you don't just like leave the shoulder like this or whatever, he's going to test something.
Yeah, he
like 55 or something crazy.
He a freak.
He's insane. Okay, so to training with your speed training now, right? Like, what do you think? Kind of like looking at this year as a whole, what were some of the biggest changes that you made compared to previous years that you've seen so much success this year and in your track season?
So, well, I would actually have to start with the coaches that I've been with post-collegiate. So I was with a coach in Austin who, trained some of the fastest sprinters and hurdlers. And he was more so a speed-based coach. So he was good with speed. Then I went to another coach and he built more. He wasn't a great coach, but he built more of my endurance level of training. And then being with Nick, so I actually reached out to Nick because
for those, I'll interrupt real quick. For those that don't know, Nick Newman, track coach now at Tennessee. Nick was mentored by my mentor and coached Will for I think a year or something.
Yeah.
So go ahead with what you're saying, just so people.
So I actually reached out to Nick after I left the last coach. I just reached out to Nick because I was reading his book and I just liked his weight room system. So I reached out to him about, because I was trying to figure out how to get my power levels back, and that was my biggest thing. When I got hurt, I literally felt like I lost my powers. More so in this left leg, like it felt like my leg was just like I felt normal for the first time in my life. So I reached out to Nick trying to figure out how can I get like my power back, my strength base back. And then we talked and he just opted into coaching me. And what he did a really great job with getting like my weight room numbers back up, my maxes back up, my power and stuff back up. But as far as like overall jump training, his system I believe it works well for most females, most women. But his system, as far as it didn't have enough speed training for me, and I think that was the main thing. It just didn't have enough speed training for me. He has a good structure of training.
Yeah.
But as far as someone,
just for you personally, it just didn't have enough sprint.
Yeah, and I think for like most elite jump, if you're trying to have a 850, 860 jumper, or even 840, I just don't see it working out that way for them. But I could be wrong. And then now it's with the coach I'm with now, the White. So combining all the last 3 coaches I was with, they all played parts into rebuilding back my strength and everything to how it should be. And like with the White, we do a lot of quad development. And then like me as a coach, so when you're a sprinter, your quads is more so like your gas pedal. That's your push power, and then your hamstring, that's more so like your brake. So we kind of develop like my quads until like I can push and apply so much more force at an easier rate. So we've done a lot of hills, a lot of sleds, a lot of resistance training, as well as a lot of speed endurance, and then speed training. So overall, like the structure and the system is very well put together for me. Like it has the right amount of. I could use a little bit more speed on the sprint side, because I just want to sprint, but I can't say it's not working because I did run 10:32, and I feel like I'm in 10:0, 10:1 shape right now.
Are you doing any meets?
Huh?
Are you doing any more track meets?
Yeah, USA's this week. I'm gonna probably look to.
You're sprinting at USA's though?
Nah, I wanted to. I was gonna plan to till I hurt my foot this year. Next year I'm gonna try to double up. I'm gonna try to do the 60 in long jump indoors, 100 in long jump outdoors. So after USA's, I'm probably gonna try to run 100 that following week or the week after, and then go to Worlds.
I was hoping you'd have one more chance to run the 100, just to see.
Yeah, I'm gonna for sure run it again, because I can run 10:0. I can run 10:0.
I'm curious. Do you like, what are your weight room numbers looking like? Like if you have any that you know off the top of your head.
Like maxes?
Yeah.
Like clean and squat, where are your maxes?
Power clean was at 285. With Nick, this year we didn't get so much into the maxes. We haven't done anything over 90%. But yeah, with Nick I was 285 on the cleans and 495 on the squats, on the back squats.
That was half squat, right, Will?
That
was like knee at 90, just like
495 on half squats, and then the full squat we were at 435.
Holy shit! I did not know you were that strong.
Which now before when I first got to college, I was just a natural lifter. Yeah. Like I can bench, squat, whatever.
I've heard that like Jordan Wessner, he's like the same. Like he can do like 260 or something in a power clean and quarter squat, like 600 pounds or 550, like fast, like just super strong. But Jordy can't squat deep super well, and he's not super flexible to do it. I didn't know that your weight room numbers were that.
Yeah, I wasn't so good at deep squats as well. But Nick, I would say Nick did help with that. And then Dwight expanded on it with more front squats. So yeah.
You were doing a lot last year too. Well, more front squats, I think I saw recently.
Yeah. Last year for me the weight training was kind of excessive.
That's like we do a lot of weight room, but like it's so variable depending on the person. I think for 2-foot dunking, it's pretty effective. It's kind of the fuel, you know what I mean? Weight room is like helps so much, but when you're looking at
I was gonna say too, like sprinting, I can see why sprinting helps so much, because long jumping is literally just one step, like sprinting is literally as close to sprinting as you can get.
Yeah.
So how many days a week are you sprinting right now? Or were you at the most? Like all out 100% sprinting? How many days a week were you?
Now probably two or three. It seems like 4 counting my approach days. My approach is in the days I'm actually jumping because it's kind of like a full sprint too.
Yeah, right. So with the approaches, it's between 3 and 4 basically year round.
What you mean?
With the long jump approaches, like day built in as a sprint day, like if you count that, it's between 3 and 4 days a week.
Yeah,
So,
3 and 4 days. Because after my approaches, I would normally have like, I can hear you. You went out.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So is it like 3 dedicated days of sprinting and then like 1 day of like approach work?
Yeah. So it's like, so I would say my Mondays would be depending on what cycle we're in. Mondays would be like a speed endurance, like we'll do some interval letters like 180, 150, 120, 180. Most times they're fast, like sometimes throw up fast. Last week I did them. No, 2 weeks ago I did them. They were slow because I'm starting to taper off for USA's. But they were less recovery, so pretty much get the same out of it.
How much time is he giving you on that?
So with the intervals, when I'm running them fast, like say if I'm doing 180s and 20 or 19, 20, 150 and 15, 120 and 12. So probably have 6 minutes in between those. But if I'm doing my 180 and like 23, 24, 150 and 18, 19, 120 and 14, I'll probably have 3 minutes.
Okay. So that's the vomit inducing ones. Those slightly slower ones with more dense like schedule. Really, the faster ones get you?
The fast ones. It's like you're running at max velocity, and then you have to recover in 6 minutes, then run at max velocity again. But I actually threw up on the one. I think I was doing in and outs. I was doing run float run, so I was doing 180 run float run, which is 60 60 60. So you build up, maintain, hit it, all out sprint the last 60. And I think I threw up on one of those. I think I did that. It was 60 60 60. Huh?
I remember John around October last year. I did a whole cycle of like a lot of sprinting, and when it got to the sprint float sprints, like I remember that was one of the hardest like running days I've ever had.
Yeah, it's just one of those workouts like you look at it, don't seem like it's gonna be difficult, but it's like that last 40, 50, yeah, it'd be kind of tough.
You're just like so gassed. And then also like the fact that it's insufficient rest, because like typically if you're gonna do sprint float sprints like in outs like that, you can give full rest. You know what I mean? You could give someone 10 minutes or you do half. Like cut that in half, and now that workout kind of you're touching on special endurance 1, speed endurance. You know what I mean? Kind of in that in between. So then when's the next sprint session after your in out or like speed endurance session on Wednesday?
Wednesday would normally be like my recovery days, just weights.
Okay.
Depending on if I have a meet or something that week. If I don't, we'll probably do some resistance training, some sleds or the exogeny or something like that with some flies over speed.
Yeah, what's your full week of sprinting then? Because now I'm kind of curious. So Monday speed endurance. What's Tuesday?
So let me try to look.
You just told me this. You don't have to go through.
Full week.
Because that's kind of interesting. If Wednesday is like your recovery day, maybe you do like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
Trying to look for a good week of training.
They're all good weeks of training, Will.
Yeah. Nah, I think this is the beginning of a cycle. So this week, this was like this was April, the first week of April. So I had 120, 4 sets of 120, 100. So that's a broken 220 with 30 seconds rest and 5 minutes rest between sets. And the 120 and 14.5, 113.5. Then the next day was blocks, approaches, exogen. You know what the exogen is?
I don't know what that is.
It's like it's a newer model of resistance training. And you can crank the resistance up to about 2,000 pounds. So it's they call it like
air pressure thing. You have the button.
It's I guess it's like that. Yeah, it's two chords.
No,
You use both sides.
How do you spell it?
It's EXERGENIE.
Huh. Exergenie.
So,
No, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's really good. It's convenient. So Tuesday blocks, approaches, some resistance, takeoff stuff, then hurdle hops. Wednesday, just weights. Thursday, 4 120s, sprint, flow, sprint, 2-wit sled, 2-wit out, 8 to 10 minutes recovery. Friday, 5 flying 30s with a 30-meter build up, and then 6 short jumps. So that's the April section.
That's a lot of specificity. That makes sense though, because you're like right in that block where everything's specific, everything's kind of fast, everything's like that's the super cycle where it's really hard, but you probably aren't jumping super well during that. I would assume, but like you're getting so much training in. Were you jumping okay during that?
Yeah, that weekend. No, the following week. That's when I opened up with 818.
But did you back off leading into the meet or no?
Let me see. Did I back off?
Like, did you take it easy leading into the meet?
So, I still kind of had the same things.
That's crazy.
So I had on that Monday I had 3 120 sleds. Tuesday I had blocks, approaches, the exogeny, four resistant jumps, 4 without resistant jumps, then hurdle hops. Then that Wednesday I had 2 150s, pretty much maxed out, 10 minutes rest.
Do you guys, it looks like you guys dropped volume like 20% ish, maybe a little more. So you did back off a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
But it wasn't like a full taper, obviously. Like right now, you're probably like in a full taper, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be really interesting to see how this week goes. You know what I mean? I feel like it's like if you hit the board, you're gonna pop off a huge number.
840.
Yeah. Will, just hit the fucking board, dude. Just get your foot close to the edge, okay? Don't have to be anything crazy here. That's great. Yeah, that's exciting for you, man. I'm hoping that you pop off a big number. I've been saying it for years. I've maintained that you have more potential in your left pinky than I do in my whole body.
No, what's funny is so when I went to him and I had those 5 jumps over 8 meters. Remember the guy was under my post talking about some consistently jump 8 meters or whatnot. I was just thinking of this guy, like, and I just jumped 8 meters in 5 weeks.
Yeah, I know.
I'll be want to go back at him. I'm like, I ain't got this.
Well, I feel like I've always said that too. Like when people talk shit about you, it's like you think back to all those people that said you couldn't do something. You just want to be like, hey, you were wrong. I told you so. You know what I mean? Hey, I told you. And like, it's honestly, you realize like at that point you're successful and it just doesn't even matter anymore. You know what I mean? You're like, yeah, who cares? I prove them wrong by being successful. They can.
I remember there was people back in like 2018 when I was like testing 44 and a half and they were saying that like I peaked, like I plateaued and I wasn't getting any better.
Joke's on them.
I don't even understand why people try to put peak performances on people. Like I don't believe in that peaking shit. Like
yeah, it's like
there's no limits.
You're always trying to push further.
Yeah.
Like unless you're just willingly not, you know what I mean? But as long as you're working hard and you're trying to push, like there's certain athletes that are just content staying healthy and not really pushing, you know what I mean? And like in those scenarios, it's like, okay, it's going to be hard to jump higher or further if you're not going to train, you know what I mean? But if you're just going to like put it on cruise control. But like for guys like you or Isaiah or, you know, in some ways me recently, where we're pushing like hard as hell, you know what I mean? Like we're not taking days off. We're not every day's or every week's a harder workout or progression, and you're following periodization models. Like you should expect to jump further or higher, you know, in those situations. So I guess, have you been watching Isaiah recently? And if so, what's your opinion of how high he's jumping right now? Have you seen anything?
Yeah. I think let me see, what was the last thing I saw?
He did a one-hander where his whole head was above the rim. That was pretty crazy. Did you see that?
Isaiah is just a freakish athlete, and I don't think people like give him the respect that he deserves as a dunker, especially at that dunking competition that he went to. Like I ain't like how they did him.
I think I'm really excited for dunk camp because I feel like I've progressed a lot, like as a jumper this past year, and I have not dunked with other dunkers in like literally months. So I feel like I'm like a different athlete right now. And
nah, you are. I feel like you're the most skilled professional there is right now as far as dunking. Like you're the most skilled and the most consistent.
Yeah, I think in terms of like jump height too, right now he's, you know, like guys like Dak and you on any given day, you never know. You might come out and you might do something crazy. But, you know, Isaiah is pretty not predictable, but in some senses, like we kind of know where he's at. You know what I mean? Like we've deloaded enough times. I've trained him long enough and coached him long enough where it's like I kind of know where the cards are gonna fall more or less and what he's capable of at any given point. And like I would say you're slated for 48 to 50 right now. On any given day, you might hit you have the potential to touch 12. What is it? 12.4 that you have to touch?
12.3 for a 50.
Yeah, that's I never really tested my max vert. That's what I want to test.
I would be curious. I feel like the way you jump, I feel like you'd struggle because you jump so high and so quick that your body flips in the air. You know what I mean? Like you know how you have to like rotate your limbs so you don't land on your face. I feel like the same thing's true of you in dunking. And like your body starts to do this, you know, like Superman.
I need a dunk coach.
Yeah. Like you literally you'd have to like rotate your arms or something to stop yourself from like falling forward towards the vertex. It'd be interesting to see. Like CJ has the same issue. He really struggles when he jumps because his body.
CJ Champion, isn't that his name?
Yeah. He's my roommate, but he's not here right now, unfortunately. So I think it would be interesting to see like with full speed because if you were to track like your hips are at like whatever 7.6, but like your body is doing this like Superman on your one-hander, and I was like that's insane. You can see. I'm trying to find it real quick. You can literally see this. You can tell like your body starts to rotate this way, and even just that little bit, you know what I mean? It's tough to like hit a peak like tilting. Now your peak you can't reach as vertically, you know what I mean?
I'll have what you said. I'll have to jump more vertical, like more.
Yeah, you'd have to go like straight up, straight down. Which honestly for Isaiah, ironically, has been like is that pretty much your cue right now, Isaiah?
Literally any dunk that I'm trying, like if I'm trying to hit a dunk, I just say jump straight up and down, and I instantly like I'll get higher.
Yeah, which is fun. But I still want to see you obviously test your max vertical off 1 and 2. I think it would be.
I'm gonna check some reservations and see what it's looking like.
Yes. Yes, I would love it. Well, we're like at about an hour here, Will. So we'll close it up here. But dude, thank you so much for getting on the call with us. It was like a ton.
No problem at all.
I feel like people are gonna see this and be like, "What the hell? I didn't know that." I was like, they're gonna hear some of these marks. So thank you for coming on. For those of you that are listening, Will, what's your Instagram handle?
It is ijump_4_u.
I jump for you, and I'll try to remember to put that in the description. So give him a follow, guys, and we will see you guys on the next episode. As always, if you want jump training like Isaiah and I do, you can sign up for THPStrength.com, or you can go to THPStrength.com and sign up there. And we will catch you guys on the next episode. Peace out.